Thank you once again for joining me. We must not fall for their propaganda. We must not fall for their distraction. Yes, they are there. They are leading the economy into wars, into all manners of backwardness. But here we are today discussing about the son of Peter Obi who is gay. Like, who really cares? I made a video in the morning. I called out some obedience because I knew they were going to come after me. I said, at this stage that we are, all hands must be on deck. We must understand that in politics, everything is fair. Like they say in politics, it is a dirty and murky waters. We saw how they dealt with Barack Obama regarding his wife, where they call her a transgender. In fact, the American said she has a penis. Okay, we saw what they did with Donald Trump using the Epstein file, where they said that Donald Trump engages in child sex. Okay, parties on the Epstein Island. We saw what they've done across the world, and we saw how those people reacted. I am not the enemy. I have seen people call me a mole. I am just an objective political analyzer. One of the person that I have pinpointed in the last 2 years to 3 years is Peter Obi. Over the years, I've always said it that in 2022 to going to 2023, I wasn't a supporter of Peter Obi. All right. And there's nothing wrong about that. Now, going forward, do we know what is going on in the South? It seems nobody is even noticing that, as you have it on my screen, the Tinubu camp have launched an aggressive voters registration scheme in Lagos, in Ogun State, in majorly Western states right now. The APC are launching a financing voters registration, and they are profiling people. Okay, I was at the bus stop this morning, and I was told that you get to some registration center. When they ask you your ethnicity, they will not allow you to register. But we are not discussing about this. We are here arguing. I'm taking insult from obedience. Okay, from taking insult from even the APC. Like I've always said, I have no, like, nothing against you if you are a supporter of APC or PDP. My question is, if you are not delivering, you have to give space for those who are ready to deliver. We're not going to kill ourselves if Tinubu wins by 2027, but we will continue to criticize him. That is if he wins. All right, we are not going to kill an APC or Tinubu will not kill himself if Obi wins by 2027. And if Obi gets there, if he works well, restructure the country, yes, I will come here and I'll commend him. All right, if Obi gets in there and he continue and maybe he toes the line of the Buhari and Tinubu and he becomes a ethnic, jingoist, yes, we'll come here and speak against this. We are just simply for a better country. I do not necessarily believe in one Nigeria. I believe in a United Nations of Nigeria. That's what I believe in. I believe in a situation whereby we as individual nations, because I know as a Yoruba man, my psychology, my philosophy is not the same thing with the Igbos, same thing with the Northerners, same thing with the Middle Belt. So we must have a unity of nations. And that is where I stand. This is why my analysis sometimes will swing to the right, it will swing to the left. Okay, let us continue with this issue of voters registration and why I am saying that all hands must be on deck as a matter of urgency. We, as the obedient, within the period of 2021-2022, I recall I knew how so many obedient single-handedly finance voters to go and register. I know how so many people back then even sponsored some media runs, some media ads. It got to a point that some centers didn't have light, some centers had some logistic issues. It was obedient that financed it. I am not saying that everywhere now. And I am scared because what I'm seeing are the bosses of APC. As at 2022, the campaigns were already going. As at late 2021 into 2022, we already had obedience, as at that time we had people going out there sponsoring, go and register. If you in fact, as at then, we had incentives in place, motivational, like target, like if you can take 10, 20 people to go and register, you will earn 10,000, you will earn 20,000, and it was massive. Okay, and this is why I will come here and reconscientize our people so that we can realign and recalibrate our mindset. We are, supposedly like sort of down because of this news, and it is, to be fair, that news must be tackled. However, we must never take our eyes off the ball. Yes, while we are tackling, just as like I rightly said this morning, that we must also begin to run campaigns of toxicity. I mean, if Obi is straight, as we all know, and his son is gay, as there is no evidence, but it has been reportedly said. However, my money and my life is safe in the hands of Obi. But the president is straight. His son is straight. That son that is straight cannot correct his father. That Oga, the life of Nigerian people is going crooked. Is getting crooked. I don't know what you maybe understand what I'm trying to say. If the APC urchins are shouting that Obi's son's life is crooked, but we know that if Obi gets in there, our life will be straight. However, Tinubu, who says he's straight, whose son is straight, but under him, the Nigerian economy is crooked, Oga, I would rather vote for Obi. Those are the kind of campaign we have to go to. Those are the kind of things we need to begin to speak about. Nigerian politics and politics everywhere is not about gentility. No, it's not. Everywhere in the world, there's dirtiness in politics. Whether we want to say it or not, even in America, sometimes they tend to say that politics is tribal. The last time I saw this, it was the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, that came out to say this. He alluded to that fact that politics is tribal. So we can no longer be playing a politics of gentleman. Now we can no longer to do that. While we are quiet, this is why I come out and say that why is everything seems to be favoring Tinubu, because it doesn't make any sense. Tinubu keeps committing blunders into our hands. Tinubu keeps giving us every means to attack him, but somehow, some way, the oppositions are dumbfounded. They don't even know how to go about it. They don't. They are, in fact, the oppositions are the ones in the defense, in the defensive zone. And I'm like, are we really serious? Because if we continue like this, of course, Tinubu will win. There's nothing that will stop him. If the Peter Obi, if the Atikus fail to up their game, do we think that the narrative that someone is gay will not fly in the north? They must fly, they must actually begin to attack the APC camp. That's the truth. That is the truth. We all know that Tinubu has his game plan, everything drafted out. Nobody should come out here and feign ignorance that we all do not know that Tinubu is a political strategist. No. Because I say that, has that made me a Tinubu supporter? No. And it doesn't make me because I come here and I say that, yeah, Tinubu has failed in the economy, has not made me a Tinubu hater either ways. I am only speaking my reality, yeah. And our reality is, whoever is our leader, whether in the opposition, whether in the incumbency, they need to do better. Because we are the ones who are the bottom of the barrel. Yes, we are the ones. Someone told me that they wanted to go and vote, register for their PVC, because there's what we call the CVR now, the Continuous Voters Registration Scheme going on in Lagos to be particular. They asked her when she said she's not Yoruba. They told her she has to come back. That there's no network. And lo and behold, while she was leaving, they started registering someone else. I asked her who was the person they were registering. She said she didn't confirm, but she got the message. So why is it that There's no miracle there. If you are not ready to put in the work, whether clean work or dirty work, there's no way you will defeat Tinubu. This is not me being, this is just me not being hypocritical. This is just me being pure and clean, objective. I am not going to be a sycophant. I am not going to be a member of a cult that will not speak the truth. You cannot be an obedient and you do not want me to speak the truth to you. No, I wouldn't. I will not end up like Kenneth Okonkwo. I will not. I will be here to say it as it is. I will be. Yes. Because Tinubu will not go soft on any of the oppositions. He will not. He won't even spare a pin. He will use everything in his locker, in his arsenal to destroy any of the opposition, aspirants. That's who he is. That's how brutal and how committed and determined he is. You cannot be dealing with a determined person and you think you are indecisive. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Look at what I've said about this CVR in the south. I am sure beyond Lagos, it is happening in Ogun State. I'm sure it's going to happen in Oyo State. I am sure it's going to happen in Osho State. Yeah. So it is not just being emotional and you think maybe it is your emotions that will win your elections. No, emotions would not. Our logic must always be very firm. We must be very strong-minded and strong-hearted because Tinubu is a strong man. Tinubu has paid psychoanalysts. He has paid philosophers. He had paid social media gurus and influencers. He had paid political, stalwarts and calculators. These are what he is working with. Oh, we think we are just going to have a ride over the man without a fight? Is that what we think? If we take a step back, we must understand that before 2026, a lot of vitriol, a lot of darts, a lot of bullets will still be thrown into the way of the opposition. And one of the things Tinubu is trying to do is we want to meet this issue of Obi's child being gay to try and want to bring that conflict between the North and Peter Obi. How will the obedient media fight that? Those are my duties, and this is why I come every day. How will they fight that? Like, how would you stop search? Because we know that I've been seeing so many northern influencers who have been going on there, saying that they need to print the posters and flyers and share it across the street of the north and start announcing it in mosque and place of worships that the son of Peter Obi that has been recently been advertised to them is gay. I mean, me saying that, how has that made me an enemy? Is it not the first step in solving your problem is for you to identify the problem, that yes, we have a problem. And I think we sincerely have a problem in the way we deal and attack with whatever propaganda that comes from the APC camp. That's the fact. We need to up our game. We need to be frank. We need to be firm. We need to be decisive. We need to be more aggressive. I mean, I remember when Tinubu was still, when this man was still in the opposition, very aggressive man. In fact, he was an activist. This was a man who sponsored protests. This was a man who said so many things against Jonathan. This was a man who they called Jonathan some unprintable names. And when it got to the time Jonathan was about to arrest him, they said, well, if you arrest me, you must understand that Abuja, Lagos will not know any rest. I mean, there are so many people who are ready to fight for my man, Obi. But he has to lead the charge. That's the truth. The North, who are supposed to be leading the charge on his cause, because those ones are not ready to accept with the term that it is truly the turn of Obi. That is why you see them. They are even they happy say they expose something like this. Atiku, I know the Atiku camp are happy. I know, because I haven't seen the influencers of Atiku speaking in favor of this. What I've been reading online is the supporters and the heirs of Atiku have been saying that how is it possible? So we as a people, if we really want to kick out this man who has become very formidable in that seat of the presidency, we have to get our shit together. We have to be more composed. We have to be very decisive and aggressive, not being too emotional, not you attacking me here and there when I come outside to speak the truth. I'm not for that. We must understand, first and foremost, as a southerner, as a Yoruba man, I stay with truth and integrity. And but while I'm at that, I believe that you have to protect it. Yes, when you have values, if you do not protect it, if you do not fight to protect your values, people will tell your story in lies, and we know how lies can fly. It is not easy to retract some false narratives, and we mustn't allow such to fly. Unfortunately, what we are seeing right now is the social media must never slip away from the hands of the obedient, must not slip away in favor of, Peter Obi, because Tinubu, as a master strategist, I know that he has planned all the actions to be taken, using all manners of campaigns of calumny to demoralize, to silence the people who apparently in the last 3 years has been the one dominating the social media, and that's my piece. The question is, why is everything seems to be working in favor of Tinubu's re-election? I am beginning to come to agreement with that word Jonathan said just some couple of months ago. He said, if it is your turn to become the president, things will seems to work in your favor. Sometimes it could be things that are not morally right, or sometimes these are things that could be seen as intangible. Yesterday, we saw what happened right there against one of the biggest political opposition against Tinubu, which is Peter Obi. Peter Obi's son, unprovoked, went on social media, or should I say, Peter Obi's wife happens to be a man. It has appeared to us now that Peter Obi's son is gay. There have been so many allegations out there. This didn't start from Tinubu. It started right there, right from the days of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said this, okay, he said Peter Obi is gay. Ordinarily, this shouldn't even matter to us because there are so many things that is troubling us in Nigeria, from insecurity, right there to bad economy, right there to bad roads, incessant killings by the Fulani herders. These are the things we'll be discussing. But to be fair, this conversation was not started by the APC or by the Tinubu or by the Yoruba Renus, as it were. This conversation was brought out by Peter Obi's son. Well, why this matters to us as Africans is because as African man, we are religiously, traditionally, culturally conservative. Okay? We still are at that level where we demonize gays. Yes. The last time we saw it in Delta State, where police went to wrap up gays, they were having their gay party. As it stands today, that same Jonathan that I quoted as I started this channel was the one who passed the law that gays should be in prison for 14 years. So you can imagine the kind of message this will send to those who Obi has been trying to appease for the past 2 years, which are the Northerners. How they will perceive Obi. The last time a politician came on board and said, who will vote for Obi? Obi that created a alcohol factory? Now you can, oh God. Why is everything working in favor of Tinubu? Why? Where is the God of Peter Obi? Because it doesn't make sense to me anymore. I don't believe in juju. I don't believe in voodoo in politics. But apparently, it seems like the ADC coalitors are being bewitched by the Tinubu himself. Because from one mistake to the other, from one blunder to the other, the last time that the by-election was held, the coalitors were having conflict for a political position in Kaduna. ADC brought someone, SDP brought someone. There was no agreement. In Anambra, we saw what is going on. Labour Party had a candidate, ADC had a candidate, Obi supported the ADC candidate. And some days later, the Labour Party Lagos State chairman came out and lampooned Peter Obi. That is not how things are done. At this stage, let the coalitors, the ADC oppositions, whoever they are, let them get their shit together. Tinubu is a man that if you are not in your A game, you can't even, you won't even see his shadow. A man who eats, breathes, sleep, think, dream of politics. Are you people kidding me? And I know so many of my reviewers who are, who are sort of not as liberal as I am, not as objective as I am, will tell me that I am here this morning to promote, why am I talking about this? Why is this a conversation for discourse? It is not about me. It is not about you being obedient. It is about you understanding that Nigeria that was bequeathed to us by our father, Lord Lugard, in 1914, has been placed on a pedestal of what we call religious and ethnic bigotry. And in Islam, gay is punishable by death. And we know how Islam coordinates, calibrates, ordinate on a daily basis their life in the north. We know that it was that religious bias Tinubu used to win the north in 2023. Now imagine a situation whereby we are still trying to package Obi for the north. That fine, Obi will spend one term. Obi being a Christian doesn't mean he will go against the Muslims. And then we have this again from his son. I ask again, why is Tinubu being favored? Because for me, this is becoming God. This is becoming like a cheat. This is becoming